This mini PC is actually good for gaming because it carries a very fresh Intel Core Ultra 7 CPU. Is the NucBox K13 the right choice for you? Let's inspect. This here might look like a pretty serious power bank, but this is a mini PC from the company GMKtec. It's a compact and slim, clearly built for people who value portability and a small footprint for office setups, discrete living room setups, that kind of sort of thing. But don't judge it by the size, because it delivers surprisingly exciting performance for a machine this small. I'm going to show you how it handles everyday tasks, multimedia, gaming, and so on. Basically, everything you'd want a home PC to do well. We inspect. We start with some performance testing. There are a whole lot of benchmarks you can run, and I'll follow some of the commonly respected and used, such as 3D Mark and Cinebench. You are, of course, free to dig deeper and discover more based on your own preference. And remember, I'm more focused on real-life performance. So, after confirming that the results on wildlife are on the good side and checking the status of Cinebench, which is also very positive, I will draw the conclusion that K13 performs almost as expected. It is very fast, though the CPU returns results about 5 to 10% lower than what some other configurations report, which is likely due to the more conservative settings that are used by default. The CPU rarely throttles, which is good news. Fact is that playing Counter-Strike 2 at low video settings, of course, is on par with the famous Radeon 780M, which is exactly what Intel is aiming for with its processor line. And I'm more than happy to say that you can enjoy gaming, with obviously certain limits on the graphics side. But I confirm that simulators and games that I regularly play are perfectly fine with this computer if you have realistic expectations. Multimedia is also well handled. Here the rule is simple. The newer the architecture, the greater the amount of codecs and protocols are supported on a hardware level. So it's all very decent with the K13. I was able to edit videos with good success, no hiccups, and the feeling was not much worse than what I get with a system equipped with a superior processor and 4 times more RAM. But no, I'm not telling you that this is a good choice for a video editing station. I'm saying that it can work as a backup in case you need a temporary plan B. Of course, heavy effects and motion graphics will be way too heavy to properly handle. Good news is that an external GPU will work. You can use a USB 4 port for connection, and the limit hits at 40 gigs per second, which is the theoretical limit, and real-world throughput is slower. There is no Link support, which would have been great, but I'm sure that most people looking for a compact mini PC won't really miss the feature. Now, knowing that this actually is a little beast inside, let's check how GMKtec handled the design and the build quality. Unboxing feels good, nothing special though. Here's the computer, we can see the ports right away. A slightly different approach toward the housing doesn't make it way too big. It is all plastic made, and before you say this is a bad choice, let me explain that this is very typical for GMKtec's builds, and based on testing some of their older models, it's perfectly fine. Furthermore, it saves some extra grams. This is a PC that is supposed to be small, quiet, portable, and not overly expensive, so mission accomplished. A bunch of ports are available, 2 full-size USB 3 ports on the front, USB Type-C ports on the back with the HDMI and the power connector, and the moment I thought there is no RJ45, it's actually here, operational at 5 gigs per second, behind the warning about the setup. Long story short, in order to have the Windows set up with a local account, make sure to do it without an internet connection. The hardware in here is worth pausing on. It's built around Intel's Lunar Lake platform, still very fresh on the market, and marketing paints it as just the next gen of Intel's chips. But the reality is that this is the most un-Intel chip ever. It's fabricated on TSMC's 3nm process instead of Intel's own fabs, and for a company whose entire identity was built on making own chips, handing the crown jewel to its biggest rival's foundry is a pretty telling admission that they needed to catch up on process tech, and in my opinion, that bet paid off. Lunar Lake is also the first mainstream Intel platform to place LP DDR5X memory right next to the compute die inside the package, instead of using DIMMs on the motherboard, which is a very Apple silicon move, and yes, the M series do exactly the same thing. It's a direct response to the MacBook Air battery life problem that has been embarrassing x86 laptops for years. The upside is that the RAM, while fixed inside, runs at much higher speeds, so yes, the upgrades and repairs section, which comes right next, is going to be a bit shorter this time. You can enter the chassis through the bottom cover, get rid of the screws, gently lift the bottom, and you will see access to the internals. A surprise to me is the use of crucial flash drives. It is 1 terabyte in size, perhaps the most generously spec'd component after the CPU, of course. Confirmed by the benchmarks too, this is a very good performing entry-level NVMe using QLC memory, which explains the affordable price. I've seen some batches of the same K13 model equipped with a Huawei NVMe instead, so it very much depends on when you buy the unit. There's a second slot that you may potentially use for extra storage, again M2, and no, there is no 2.5-inch drive slot. I believe those days are over, though given the current prices of flash memory, we can see a comeback with some models. You can also service the Wi-Fi module, which, as you can see based on testing, it's not too impressive. Apparently no DIMMs to service, because here we have LP DDR5X, which means it's soldered onto the board, non-upgradable, but also connected to the CPU at slightly higher transfer speed, which shows in some of the benchmarks. Don't blame this on GMKtec because they didn't make the choice specifically. It's something that Intel decided for us when building this Ultra 7 CPU. If you're interested in the fan noise testing, yeah, here it's pretty quiet most of the time, though the fan often goes on or off and you can hear the controller triggering it. Under load, you can hear a slightly higher pitch of the fan. Overall, the cooling is good, though. Power consumption is also very good, and this is among the most power-efficient mini PCs I've tested to date. As for software, there is Windows 11 Pro, a very fresh release. I got the unit in late June 2026, and the build of Windows was from about a month ago. I can't say I'm a huge fan of Windows 11, though everything you like or not is here. I couldn't notice any disturbing warnings about keyloggers or Trojans while scanning with various tools. However, on the desktop, there's AI bloatware which makes me a little concerned, and I wish it wasn't there. If I were you, I'd pack the Windows 11 Pro key and I'd reinstall just in case. Luckily, there's a good section with drivers on GMKtec's website, though a piece of advice: get a copy of the drivers somewhere locally, because I've seen them disappearing for some other models. This feels like a good moment to talk about the drawbacks. Apart from the bloatware, there is no OcuLink, some people might not like the plastic case, the non-upgradable RAM, there is no SD card reader, and not that many USB ports. Also beware that there are some quite nasty comments about support from GMKtec, but given the very aggressive pricing, this doesn't surprise me too much. All in all, this is the first Intel-based mini computer that very much surprised me with its real-world performance. And you've got a machine that does exactly what GMKtec promises. So if you're ready to let go of the old way Intel used to do things and also stop thinking about upgrades because the RAM is soldered, this one is going to serve you well for sure. But as usual, I'm going to remind you, don't buy tech that you don't need. Think about whether you will actually use this on a regular basis before pulling the trigger. And if you're sure that's the thing for you, the links in the description have some solid discounts waiting. Got another test, or you want me to run something else, or you have a question? Drop it in the comments below. I'm the TechMishka. Gonna see you soon.